Hello, it's the day after Super Tuesday. I'm Al Bouchard, and this is Politic Al. Well, American politics has proved again how fast things can change. After the primaries leading up to South Carolina this past Saturday, it looked like Bernie Sanders was well and truly in the lead. Joe Biden won convincingly in South Carolina. And then on to Super Tuesday, and Joe Biden has won most of the states that were up for grabs. And several of the candidates have dropped out of the race. Amy Klobuchar has dropped out and endorsed Joe Biden. Pete Buttigieg has dropped out and endorsed Joe Biden. Just this past day, Mike Bloomberg dropped out and endorsed Joe Biden. Elizabeth Warren is considering what she's going to do since she finished third in her home state of Massachusetts and hasn't really collected a lot of delegates, but she may stay in, she may drop out. And should she drop out, who she endorses, if anyone, is still up for debate, which leaves Bernie Sanders, Joe Biden, and a real long shot at any sort of contesting for the nomination, Tulsi Gabbard, who I think has one delegate to date. It's a very much changed scenario from last week. It's the 4th of March, and nobody could have predicted this with any degree of certainty, so it is. And the Democratic Convention is not until July, which is a good 4 months from now, and so it's a safe thing to say anything can happen. Now, Bernie Sanders is not likely to concede anything until they get to the convention. Bernie is supported by his Bernie bros, or Bernie bots, as some have chosen to call them, where it's Bernie or nothing. If we don't get Bernie, we won't vote for anybody. A strategy which unfortunately would contribute to none other than Donald John Trump, because that was the sort of thing that happened last election cycle in 2016 when Bernie and Hillary Clinton were working against each other during the primary. And then Bernie did endorse Clinton after the convention, but seemingly not with good grace and with any sort of enthusiasm. But this cycle we have the vote blue no matter who, which I tend to agree with because I do not want more Trump, and I also support voting blue all the way down the ballot. Get rid of Lindsey Graham. Get rid of Mitch McConnell. We're both up for re-election this year. Get rid of Matt Gaetz, who is a representative from Florida, since the representatives are all up for re-election. Get rid of people who slavishly follow Trump, which is not good for the country. I personally tend to vote for the Democrats because they embody much more of what I believe in than the Republicans do. In fact, the only Republican I would have voted for in a general election was Charles Mathias, who was the senior senator from the state of Maryland when I lived there. I met him back in the day, back when I was in high school, and he was the only Republican on Nixon's enemies list, a thing which I chalk up to his honor. I, for the most part, do not support Republicans because I find that Republicans are committed to things which are not in my best interest or in the best interests of the country as a whole. They are, or it seems to me, they are only committed to things that benefit their pocket rather than the electorate at large. That's my opinion. But as it stands, Joe Biden may be the nominee, in which case I would vote for him. If Sanders becomes the nominee instead of Biden, I would vote for him. Not as eagerly as I would if Biden was the nominee, but all the same, I've been saying vote blue no matter who, and if one of those two are nominated, I can live with that. I'm Al Bouchard, and once again, this has been Politic Al. I will see you next week, probably after the results of the Michigan primary.